Hey guys, Chuck with ChuckGuy.com. Today what I want to do is I want to talk about systems, marketing systems. Do you need to have them? Do you need to pay for this, to be a part of these systems where they have training available to you and all the technologies to market online? Is that something that's key, or can you simply get away without doing it? And I know that this is a bit controversial because I know people who have been involved in network marketing for a great number of years, never had any system, any technology, any online classes or training. They just simply connected with somebody above them perhaps a little bit, and then they just went out and did it, and over time became extremely successful. And I know people who have become six-figure income earners and more. So do you really need to have a system, or are these systems kind of hyped up as being important, but they really aren't? So that's what I want to talk about on this training video. So if this sounds like something that would be of interest to you, definitely want to hang in with me for the next few minutes. Now, if you are brand new to this channel and you get value from this video, click the little red button down there in the corner, the little subscribe button, and also the little bell, and it'll give you an alert each time I post a brand new video. If you're watching this on Facebook, it would really help me if you'd give this video a share if you get value from it, and a like. Now, so let's dive into this. Now, I want to use a parallel that to me brings this home. Back in 1972, I was 18 years old and I wanted to learn Kung Fu. I wanted to learn self-defense. And Bruce Lee was on the screen at that time, and it just sounded really appealing. And I wasn't a fighter by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, nobody would ever accuse me of being a fighter, because I remember when I first signed up my first class, I was required to spar, and I got knocked out I think 3 times in the first 4 minutes of my sparring match with this guy. And so I was by no means a fighter, but I really wanted to learn how to do this stuff. And I had friends back home who were, they were tough guys. They were street fighters. They didn't take any martial arts, and I don't even know if they ever felt they needed it. I think what they did know was that if you made them angry, they were going to knock you down, and it worked for them. But I wanted to learn I guess, how to be aggressive. I wasn't in my nature, and I wanted to have the skill. I like that James Bond thing where you just kind of straighten up your tie after you fought. I thought that'd be so cool to learn how to be like that. And so I started taking classes, and about 6 months into my training, I happened to meet this Chinese fellow. His name was Anthony. And we became friends over a short conversation. And I said, well, I'd really like to get to know you a bit better. And, you say you're doing Kung Fu. I'd like to, see, what you've learned. We'd have an exchange of ideas. And so I said, sure. And so we got together at my home, and he said, okay, I want you to come at me really hard, and I want to see what you do. Now, you got to understand that I was 18 years old. I was about 6 feet in height. I'm a little shorter now. I'm getting old. And I weighed about 195 pounds. I was in really good shape. I was able to drop down and do 100 push-ups without any problem. And but looking at Anthony, he weighed 105 pounds, and he was about 5'4". He was like a small child compared to me. And I really was somewhat reluctant to go at him too hard. But I also had in my mind, Bruce Lee is not a very big guy, and he's really tough. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I think I held back a little bit. But you know what happened? I went at him with an attack, and the next thing you know, I'm on the floor looking up at the ceiling, and I don't have any idea how I got there. And over the coming days, weeks, and months, and years that I got to know Anthony, what I learned was that his skill was based on science. Well, it had to be, because he didn't have the physical strength. I was way stronger than he was. I had longer reach than he had. I weighed more than he had, and so I just all around I was a far more formidable person in stature than he was, and yet he could beat me without any effort. I was like I was a small child and he's the grown up. I mean, if you imagine, an adult playing with a 5-year-old, how that would look. Well, you'd say, well, it's not fair. The adult is going to, sure, he can take, roughhouse with the little boy. Well, you know what? That little boy was roughhousing with me, and I didn't understand how. But I knew one thing: I wanted to learn what he did, and it was based on science. And again, I want to go back and say, there are people who, they want to learn how to do marketing, and they know somebody in the industry who didn't take any training, and yet they're making $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month. Some of them making 6 figures a year. And you go, well, if they can do it, then I can do it. And what I learned over time was that systems are duplicatable and people are not. There are some people who just come into the industry and they just simply do great. Just like there are some people who can get into the ring, the boxing ring, and they're great fighters. They got aggression, and they're very formidable. To me, a street fighter is probably one of the most dangerous people that you can fight, because they're not trying to look like this or look like that. They're not trying to be composed. They're not trying to look like they do kung fu or karate or any of the other things. They're just simply out there to do one thing, and that's to beat you up. And a person who's really comfortable in marketing, they're just being themselves, man. They got one thing in mind. They're going to have some fun, and they're going to go sign some people up, and then they're going to help other people do the same thing. And they're just very relaxed in doing it. Some people are extroverts and some people are introverts. And it doesn't mean that the introvert can't become an extrovert, or at least learn to behave like an extrovert, but it's something he's going to have to learn how to do. And to me, that's where a system comes in, because when you get involved in a system, just like in martial arts, it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You follow the system, and it shows you exactly what you have to do to be successful. And it's scientific because it's duplicatable. If it wasn't duplicatable, it wouldn't be scientific. In other words, if I do something one time, well, that might be random luck. If I did it a second time, you go, well, wow, lightning doesn't usually strike twice in the same place. But when you can do the same maneuver on another human being hundreds of times, it's no longer luck, it's skill. And so when you learn how to do something, even though before you couldn't do it, I didn't have the skill to do what he was doing, yet he could do it to me over and over and over again. Once I learned what he was doing, then I had that same ability. And in marketing, it's the same way. If you want to become really successful in marketing, learn what the successful people are doing and practice it over and over and over again. One of the limitations, I think, with most people in network marketing is they get involved in a network marketing business, but the person who brought them into the business doesn't have much in the way of skills. They just got sold into the idea of doing it. And so ignorance is teaching ignorance. And my martial arts instructor said to me, he said, Chuck, practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So, you can go out and, rely on random luck and hope that, you're going to be successful. But you're probably going to end up like 95% of the people that do online marketing. If that's the way you want to go, you're going to fail. And you're going to be bitter and maybe even a bit envious of the people that are out there doing it. But if you want to succeed, my strongest recommendation is get into a system that can teach you how to do lead generation, how to talk to prospects effectively. And I'm going to leave a link down below this video. So definitely want to check that out. That's if you're on YouTube. And if you're not on YouTube, you can come over to my website and check it out. But I recommend you use a system. Don't guess at success. Now, once again, if you're new to my channel, make sure you click the little red button, the subscribe button, and also that little bell, and they'll give you an alert each time I post a brand new video. And if you did get value from this video, if you're watching it on Facebook, give it a share and give it a like. And you know what? I wish you all the best with your marketing. You take care and make it a great day. I'll talk to you soon.